Alright, today I'm here with the R1250 GS BMW. Pretty cool little bike, you know, for adventure cruising. And I'll be taking this thing for a before and after review of our Stage 2 Flash with velocity stacks. Stock, this is completely 100% stock. I mean, you can see we got the exhaust valve here, stock exhaust. This is stock everything except for a couple custom things the customer did, like a Corbin seat for comfort and rideability, a few fog lights in the front here, just little things here and there, but nothing performance wise. So we'll be taking this thing out and giving it a pretty good shakedown. All right, we're in the cockpit here. Let's get her fired up. Now, this is a keyless system on this, so I have a fob on me and everything just kind of turns on when that fob is in range. Go ahead and get her fired up. There we go. I believe this is 136 horsepower. 136 horsepower, over 1200 cc's of displacement. Oh, quick shifter's a little bit jerky from 1 to 2. This is one of my first times riding this thing, so bear with me here while I get used to it. It feels pretty good. The power from this developed in the low end is very manageable, but also can get down too. I mean, if I turn the traction control of this thing, which I will do here in a minute, I'm pretty sure the tire will come up in the air, which is pretty cool for something that's only a twin cylinder motorcycle basically. Let me turn it off here. There we go. Yeah, 1 to 2 is really jerky. Downshifts, pretty jerky. I'm in dynamic mode right now. All right. Yeah. Front tire came up in first, but refuses to in second. The suspension unloads. It feels like the tire's almost coming up, but it's just the suspension unloading for the most part. But in first gear, you can definitely get the tire up here off the ground, but it's going so slow that the whole bike kind of almost turns over in the air. You know, it's not really like a safe wheelie, for example. Not that any wheelies really are safe, but yeah. So right now, cruising it, rideability. I can put this way down to the RPM. It's got enough get up and go for an adventure motorcycle. You know, something that, this isn't a race motorcycle by any means, but it's super comfortable. Man, I've got a nice upright seating position. I could ride this thing all day, so I can see why people take these things for continental journeys, or, you know, across different countries. Like some people just take these things right around for months, you know, just doing traveling. It's pretty awesome. This thing is pretty wide though, so I'm thinking about a split like I do normally with sport bikes. That, and I'm tall, and when I put my foot down on this thing, kind of hits the crash bar on the right side. You can see it's the right side's a little more inset to the driver than the passenger side, the way the engine is staggered. Oh yeah, gets up and goes all right. That 1.2 is really nasty. But yeah, I mean, I'm already up 70 miles an hour. I mean, that's more than enough for a bike like this. I mean, it's not a race bike. Super comfy. The wind's not even like hitting my helmet really, because of the windscreen. It's got superb lighting. I mean, it's really good lighting on this thing. Not to mention the customer put a litany of fog lights on this thing to kind of see everywhere depending on what he was doing. This guy did take off the knobbies from this bike and put some street bike tires on it, because it's mainly on the street, he said. He doesn't actually go into the trails and stuff like that, which this bike is very capable of doing, but it's not his forte. So what I'll do here is I'll get this thing up where it belongs, kind of in like a trail. I mean, not in the dirt or anything like that, but I'll get it into some trails in the countryside so we can actually see where this thing is in its natural element. All right, we're getting up here finally where this bike is going to shine. And that 1.2 shift, man, it's really abrupt. I'd say the bike pretty much feels great for stock, other than a few things. I'd say it's definitely lacking power up top. All right, let's see here. I'll give you guys a good ring here. I mean, you can see it's barely getting over 100. we'll be doing here is flashing this thing, and we'll see how much better it gets. And normally I'd be racing up and down this hill, but I mean, I don't know, I'm gonna scrape peg on this thing before I really push this thing too hard. It's actually handling pretty well just in the turn. It feels incredibly balanced. Pretty good, actually. So I'll be doing my normal 60 through 130, but as you saw, I don't know if it's gonna get to 130, so we may have to just try something else. Maybe not 130, maybe it'll try 110. So I'll try like 40 through 110. That way we get a pretty good gauge. And I'll do a second gear start so we can see the entire RPM sweep on this bike and see just how much the flash takes off on the time, which of course on this bike, getting a stronger 60 through 130 or you know 40 through 110 or whatever I'm going to do here isn't really the object of this motorcycle. It's not to race to anything, but if you want that power, you want to have it. And from what we're seeing in stage 2, or what I'm seeing in the dyno graphs, it's a pull all the way to the red line, not just the little peak, because normally velocity stacks, when you install them, what they'll do is they'll kind of shift the RPM curve over, meaning instead of having power at the bottom, you kind of sacrifice power at the bottom while gaining some power at the top. These stacks, however, do not do that. They don't follow those rules. These stacks, what they give you is power all the way across the RPM band, from low RPM to the red line, everything. That one too, I hate that one too, man. It's the most abrupt shift I've ever felt, and I've tried it a few different ways. It's just bad. And downshifting is kind of abrupt as well. I mean, sometimes the tire screeches even when I downshift, which is kind of odd. Let me get by this guy here. See, that's where the power comes in hand, is getting around people. And then you just go cruising. This is such a nice cruiser. So, yeah, the velocity stacks themselves, pretty easy to install. I'll be making a video on that as well and posting that up. But it should be pretty simple. You just replace the stacks that are here now, and I'll show you how to pull the side panels off, all that fun stuff. But for now, let's just enjoy this beautiful bike. These are the kind of rides you want to do with this kind of bike. Just all through the country, beautiful views, nice mountains everywhere, cruising. Like this is what it's about right here. So it's pretty good out, and I obviously didn't take too much of going in the dirt here, but this customer has road tires on it, so I gotta be a little more careful. If you had some knobbies on this thing, it would go off-roading beautifully. I mean, and my voice is kind of all over the place, like I'm getting rocked around, but it's actually pretty comfortable. Super comfortable off-road, as it should be for what this bike is. All right, let's get back here. Here we go. This is everything right here. So 120. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to do like a like up to like 100 or something. I mean, I'll see exactly how much leeway I have on the street. I mean, I'm not trying to say this bike is too lazy by any means. Where you need the power, low in the speed and low in the RPM range, it's there. But it's just when you get up to like the freeway speeds, it's really lazy. So like right here, I mean, we'll go 40 miles an hour. Let's just hit it. Not bad. See, like I'm saying, it's really not bad for just a 40 mile per hour hit. I actually picked the tire up just a hair off the ground when I just nailed it out of nowhere like that. I mean, just a hair. So we'll see what this thing can do down the hill. Usually, unlike, let's say, the V4 SP or the M1000, I can get to 170 no problem down this hill. But I don't think this has got the biscuits for it. So let's just see here real quick. I'll try and give it a nice head start too to go down the hill here. Oh, let me get to the turn here. Make sure there's no one there. Okay, here we go. Come on, baby. Come on. It's like I'm hitting a wall. I think that's a speed limiter right there. Which, I mean, how many people are going to be really taking it that fast? but it really lazily gets there. I mean, a Honda Civic might give me a run for my money up there. So let's see if we can fix that with stage 2. So now that we're done with the fun here, I'm gonna try to get this thing back around where I do the 60 through 130 stuff, and we'll see exactly what it does. All right, I got the Dragy out here, and what I'm going to do is do a custom mode. So I got the 60 through 130, which it's not going to get to 130. So I got 40 through 100 here. So we'll do 40 through 100. I think that'll be a good test because I might run out of runway even more before 100 miles per hour. So we'll just do that and see how it goes. All right, here we go. 40 through 100. Here we go. Be it. We'll see what it did. All right, and that's going to wrap up the pre-flash. Now I'm going to be working with headquarters here to get the stage 2 flash prep for this bike. We'll be testing a few files. I'll be testing to see how it feels, and we'll get the best feeling file for you guys, because not only do we test on the dyno for numbers, that's of course cool, important, awesome, especially when you're doing stacks and stuff like that to prove it on the dyno, but also how it feels on the road is equally important to us. We want the bike not only just make a peak number, but we want it to feel good everywhere. Even low RPM, high RPM, mid-range, shifting, throttle input. We want it perfect everywhere, and that's the whole point of doing this stuff. Using bikes, testing them, making sure everything's 100%. All right, I'll see you guys in a little bit here when I get the stage 2 sorted out, and we'll do the post-flash review. Alright, I'm back here with stage 2. I have installed the BT Moto Velocity Stack Kit on the motorcycle, and there's a how-to video that I've put up on the page there. And now I've loaded stage 2 in, and we're ready for a ride now. Let's get stage 2 going here. Alright, instantly we have I mean, I've of course warmed this up already, but I noticed that the startup is a lower idle than initially on the OEM tuning. So let's get going here. We're just riding it like normal right now. I can feel the 1-2 shift feels possibly a bit better, but let's give it a good ride here and we'll really get a good determination of that. Downshifting feels smoother. Definitely smoother. It was barking the tire before. And that 1-2 still feels a bit jerky. Alright. Definitely more induction noise, and there's a handful of power in this thing now. Let's see how much power we got. I'm gonna turn the traction control off here so it doesn't. Oh yeah, okay. It's definitely more powerful. Okay. Let's see what it's got. Oh my god! It lifted the tire up. It was hanging the tire the whole time. That's hilarious. Just on like a second gear hit here. Oh my god. It's definitely faster. That's hilarious. Downshifting feels a lot smoother. A lot smoother. Upshifting feels smoother, but that 1-2 still hits me. The shifter is faster. That's funny. It kind of pops into gear. Now, I still have the stock exhaust in this thing. The exhaust valve of stage 2 is opened up, and we use some tables from the S1000RR on the quick shifter here to try and smooth it out a little bit for upshift, downshift, and it definitely does the kill times a little bit better too. Like when you're down low, it should be nice and smooth. So if let's say I'm 5th gear right now and I showed a 6, yeah, that's nice and smooth. But if I'm higher in the RPM range, it should be more of a performance shift, so faster kill time. See? So it's more performance oriented, higher in the RPM range, but you still get that nice cruising quick shifter while you're just cruising around, so it doesn't feel like it's bolting you around, right? Second gear, I mean, the 1.2 feels a little bit better than stock. It was really jerking me around stock. Any owner knows this thing is like super jerky 1 to 2. It's a little bit better. It's still jerkier than I like it. I got some gas in this thing, and she's feeling very lively. See if I can get this wheel up on this thing. It's pretty funny. Oh man, that's ridiculous. This would not pick up the wheel like that pre-flash. No way, no way. All right. Whoa, I got pelted by a bunch of bugs. Alright, so while we're going up the hill here, I wanted to kind of explain stage 2 a little bit here. We did the development of the velocity stacks in-house, of course, and dyno tested them, but that's just part of the puzzle, you know. I mean, it's always best to get the bike on the road, in the customer's hands, tested. Because the dyno only tells you part of the story, which, hey, we can make a peak number, that's great. But you know what? Riding the thing is a completely different story. You know, if it rides like complete crap, but it makes a great peak number, what's the point? Especially on a bike like this, which most of the customers aren't going to be hitting the limiter on this thing, you know, every day or maybe at all even. So we wanted to make sure the rideability is perfect on this bike. So that's why we do these tests before and after, and why we have the bikes done and reviewed. We want to make sure every claim we make is accurate. We want to make sure that no customer is going to come back and go, hey, you said this and guess what, it's not doing that. Well, I'm here to verify every claim on the website right now. That's my job. And if that doesn't go well, or if something is wrong, I give feedback to headquarters, revise the flash, they send it back to me, and here we are. I test it again, and I'll keep doing that until it feels right. So right now, I'm running on, like, I don't know, I think we did a few flashes on this thing based on feedback from me, and worked directly with Brent on this. And now it's at a place where I think this bike feels perfect. I mean, it feels amazing. So now on these stacks, not only gives us top end power like usually you would find on stacks anyway, you know, usually it's just, it moves the power band over. Like you're sacrificing bottom end or mid range or both to gain top end. That's basically what stacks, mainly the story is with those. This one gains power everywhere, however. So we could have gotten power up top. We could have gotten power just up top and made a huge peak number. I mean, like, yeah, great, that's awesome. But you know what? The customers riding these bikes are not riding them for peak power or peak numbers. They're riding them because they're cruising them. They're doing adventures. They're literally riding these things 2,000 miles, you know? So we want to make sure that at this speed, like here, 6th gear, 4,000 RPM, I can get into the gas. You know, it feels good. There's no crazy delay. There's no lag. The throttle input feels amazing. If I want to downshift, you know, I got some actual power in the bike. Even 2nd gear, this will hang the tire. It's crazy. It feels great. So usually I don't do reviews out here, but I mean, I figured since the bike itself is made for adventure, I mean, these kinds of things like going through trails, rides like this that have great views, I think it'd be a great time to ride this thing and just kind of cruise it along, give you guys my 2 cents on what it is compared to stock. And right now it's doing really well. It's not one of those things where you're gonna have to like say, oh, I guess it's better. It's noticeably better. The throttle input's better. The power is very noticeable. This guy just has his brakes on. Okay. So everything's better about the bike. I really have no complaints. There's no sacrifices to getting stage 2. I mean, you're gonna maybe sacrifice an hour or 2 of your life installing the stacks, but after that, I mean, there's nothing else you need to worry about. I mean, even the engine noise sounds better now. There's like a nice growl to it now. It's definitely more noisy than it was with the stock stacks. And just more engine noise basically coming out of them. This bike is hilarious right now. I mean, this is hilarious. I mean, I wouldn't expect this from this kind of bike, you know? It's quick, so when you want the bike to go fast, it does it, but when you want it to cruise, it also does that. So there's really no compromise here with stage 2. I like this. This is how this bike should have felt. Get around this guy. Just great for passing, see? Easy to pass, and that was just rolling into 5th gear. That's mainly what you'll be doing with this bike. There's a, you know, slow guy in your beautiful ride somewhere, wherever you are. You need to pass them by. That's where the power is really going to come in for what I foresee as the customer base in this bike. It isn't going to be like, oh, I'm at the drag strip, I need to shave a 1/10 off. This isn't that kind of bike, and I mean, we realize that. So that's why there was a lot of time and effort put in the stacks and making sure there was no power loss down low. And not only that, but we gained quite a bit of power. I'll put the dyno sheet up on the screen here just so you guys can see exactly what I'm talking about. I mean, the dyno sheet's going to represent the 1250, but you're going to see the same kind of gains from the 1200. I mean, of course, it's a smaller engine, so it's not going to have the same kind of gains of the 1250, as the 1250 gains a little bit more power. But there are gains from the low range to the mid range to the top end, everywhere. There's no loss in power. And with the BT Moto Custom Flash, with it, all you do is install the stacks, flash the bike, and a lot of these bikes, like this one for example, this has wideband control from the factory, which means all we have to do is flash the bike, command a lambda target, and the bike will nail it. Elevation, temperature, anything, doesn't matter. The bike will constantly adjust your air-fuel ratio to target a perfect air-fuel for the motor. So that's even better, because this bike, we know it's going to be a lot of elevation changes, a lot of adventure, cruising, things like that. So it's pretty amazing. That's exactly how it should be. Let's see how fast we can get this thing down the hill. I'm curious. Before we were slamming into the top speed limiter at 130. Let's see what it does now. Alright. Here we go. Oh, I short shifted it a little bit there, but let's see. And we passed the top speed limiter now. Yeah, okay. So the top speed limiter's gone. But it really falls on its face, like up at the very top there. When there's just no arrow in this thing whatsoever, like zero arrow. But we've managed to definitely defeat the top speed governor on it. Getting back into, I'm planning on wheeling this thing, so I'll take the traction control back on here. And now we'll go and do 60 through 130 here real quick. See what kind of improvement we get from the motorcycle, from our stock, which I think was like a 5.9 or something like that. I said 60 through 130. I ment 40 through 100. All right, now we're ready here for the 40 through 100 after test. Let's get this going. All right, 2021 GS 1250, 40 through 100. 40 mile an hour start. Here we go. It definitely felt quicker, I mean, than stock. So we'll have to see what the actual numbers are. Alright, some final notes here for the 1250. The quick shifter definitely feels smoother than stock. So if I go to like a lower RPM, low here, and I want to cruise it, it definitely cruises, definitely does a nice gear change here. We'll test 1 to 2 right now, just on a low throttle input. Because remember, the higher the RPM goes, the more aggressive the shifting will get on this bike. That's how we've set it up. So let's see what 1 to 2 feels like here. So 1 to 2. That's definitely jerky still, but not half as jerky as stock. So on the lower RPM when you shift, it feels like it almost slides into gear now rather than just like almost like an on-off switch. And now it just kind of more slides into gear, whereas up top now it's more exact, precise, cuts through everything. The bike definitely feels like it has more power. Power all around, by the way. Definitely better throttle response. No more top speed governor. We've tested that. And there's a few more features that we have on the page there. I'll put the link to the product page in the description, of course, and you'll be able to check it out yourself. The install is very easy. I had to make the video and make the process for it, and I think I made it pretty easy for everyone to do. I definitely would be able to do this in my garage with some very basic tools, and it's also easy to go back to stock if you ever wanted to. So other than that, I think that wraps up our review for stage 2 on the 1250 GS. And I think my next one's going to be Ducati Street Fighter V4. I think something like that. And I'll see you guys then.